Hi everyone. Not the best time to stream since recent political events going on live. Nonetheless, I wanted today to experiment a bit with the video analyzing format. Right. Basically, I should buy the new mic tomorrow in order to get the real sound as well as I'll I'll stream at home on my real home where normally I should have a webcam, so there shouldn't be any neither visual noise nor you know sound noise. Mm. Having some difficulties with like okay. So I want to basically look at some vids. I'm not sure what. Something I know will be able to illustrate some of my takes on a more theoretical plane. That will be hopefully more entertaining than pure distillated data mining, if you will. So I want to basically for now, which will, be done in a more continuous pace once I have the real equipment on everything. Alternate between data mining and video review, and hopefully debate if I manage to pull this off. By the way, if you want to go discuss a specific topic, don't hesitate. Again, the point isn't to do some kind of debate me bro thingy, you know, the point is real, genuine dialogue on hopefully trying to understand each other when it comes to specific topics. On listen, if I can convince you, I think I can hopefully convince my audience. Try to search for mm. So basically, when it comes to vids, it was suggested to me, I remember all my suggestions, it was suggested to me to review stuff about telecom and stuff, but no, I don't think that we got it. I need I don't know, Marino stuff, maybe. I don't think psychology prepared to watch a fucking Marino vid or anyone by people I know trigger the fuck out of me. Mm, cool. Could do something about the dolphinarium industry. Uh, Normally, I thought about doing some French stuff, but I will have to translate everything from French to English, which wouldn't be great for the English speaking part of the group. So, I don't know. Maybe some TED talk. I know there's a TED talk by Herzing, which floats around this one. So, yeah, I know it's 7 years old, but basically, um, the core view are the same. As you know, Herzing is one of the main people today trying to attempt some kind of first contact uh, with a group of free cetaceans, which is a rare occurrence. Most of the projects, either in the past or today, are done with captive cetaceans, with very few exceptions. I have disagreements with the methodology of Herzing. We will review the different first contact projects in a later stream. When it comes to Herzing, I believe it's called the CHAT, the chat system, which is an extremely toyetic control system, which clearly was somehow self-sabotaged in the sense that they willingly restrained its mechanisms to prevent genuine two-way communication, something that Lou Herman studies also had. I believe it was also the case of Genius at some degree. This is a common pattern in most projects of the same nature, but nonetheless, we'll try to see what we agree on, we disagree on. Hopefully data mine, because obviously what I say is not necessarily 100% the truth, and I could be wrong on specific data. So let's see. I didn't watch that vid, so I just know it exists. It floats around in my recommendations as a while. So I don't like Herzing, by the way, but Pro Sanctuary, you know, someone which has the same basic discourse that most other activists on pro caps on blah blah. I mean, we will see all the rest. Don't worry, we will see all of that. Okay, so basically that's the interesting part. So, if you know a bit my content, you know that I'm extremely critical of the use of the brain argument in interactivism. Note, mind you, because unlike people like Greg or Manger, which totally deny the existence of evidence found in the cetacean brain that could go toward the idea of cetacean sapiency or intelligence, because I believe there are elements that go in the direction, but because its prevalent use in our activism is a problem. Why? Because it implies necessarily that behavior in itself is not enough to tell confidently that cetacean behavior is sapient. And I believe this is a big epistemological mistake. We will go over this, especially by reviewing Marino stuff, probably Lily stuff as well, if I'm aware to, oh my God, my English. If I'm able to find some vid about Lily that shows some kind of interview by him, or I don't know, we will review that shit, okay? Whatever, this is minimal. No, that's not true. So basically, I mean, here's the thing. It's not that it's not true. The thing is, everything that has to do with brain, and we know it at least in the 60s and 70s, is an extremely complex science. We cannot simplify it. When it comes to human beings, back in the 19th century, we'll go over the literature on that, especially The Mismeasure of Man by Stephen Jay Gould. If you know a bit about scientific racism, if you know a bit about scientific sexism, you know that certain old white men tried, for instance, to prove that black people had smaller brains than white people, therefore they were less intelligent, women having less body ratio than, you know, all of this. We know today that brain size or brain ratio, although this, I could be wrong on this, I will have to review literature, is not enough. It's a factor between all the factors. There is an extreme variability when it comes to the phenotypes of the brain in human beings that doesn't necessarily warrant a strict correlation between brain size, notably, and intelligence. When it comes to other species, we will go over that again, case by case, but it appears that while brain size or most importantly, brain ratio per, you know, the size of the body is important as a factor. It's not the only factor. And what I dislike is not pinpointing those elements, is putting those elements as the center of our rhetorics, on using those elements at the expense of a behavioral type of evidence. Again, we will go over this, but basically my point is how the discourse is geared toward this. My basic point is that we know that dolphins are sapient, or elephants, by the way, cetaceans, non elephant in general, not because of their brain, and even if their brain does show indications, but rather because of what they do, and because of the bulk of data we have today of what they do. Again, we will go over this data, because I cannot just pull, like, you know, allegations out of my ass. I need to show you what I'm talking about. But nonetheless, I wanted to pinpoint that key point of information that basically is one of the main issues since Lily. Basically, Lily had a similar kind of reasoning, so right. By the way, I know this is the first stream. I'm extremely awkward and everything. Désolé si je parle trop fort. Hein.
Ah, pas du tout, non, j'ai pas envie de dormir. Tu streames plus du coup?
Non, je stream.
Ah, pardon.
Non, t'inquiète. No, what did you say? Well, apparently it is the case that that's the thing. Okay, that's true on paper, but I'm not sure about that, because that could be wrong regarding elephants. I have a doubt on this. Also, I'm not sure if it's the case regarding other cetaceans, notably sperm whales. And I have also a doubt, because I believe that there is a class of fish, a family of fish, called the murmerids, or elephant fishes, which body ratio could be bigger than humans. I have a doubt on this. No, 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 no. Marma, I will have to review that, but I'm pretty sure she's wrong on that. By the way, here's the thing though, like, she says that, okay, no, 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 whatever, we'll go over that. Yes, well, that relates to her work, but as we will see afterward, part of the problem with previous first contact attempts is not all of them are like that, not all of them, but the will to create artificial languages, not just in the sense of lingua franca, what I try to do with Randy, what I will attempt, because I still need to have the prototypes, they're being built as we speak. But the problem is not just creating the lingua franca, which the intermediate language, Herzing is trying to do the same thing that I want to do, creating an intermediate lingua franca rather than trying to either force cetaceans to speak like us or us to speak like cetaceans. But the idea of creating an artificial language in the sense of completely created by a machine with synthetic voice, blah, blah, I'm absolutely against that. This is part of my grievances with the CHET system. We'll go over that. No, that's true. Yeah, that's true as well. Okay, so we have to go over that, but basically extensive there is extensive circumstantial evidence on experiments going in that direction that we want it or not. That's my main criticism, especially against Justin Gregg, which blatantly ignores especially the work of Lou Herman on that, on Vladimir Markov. Again, we'll go over that. I think we will go over at least some chapters of the book by Gregg in order to deconstruct some of his key points. And whatever, listen, I'm not going to enter whatever she, but we'll go over that afterward, okay? Oh, by the way, one sec. Okay. Okay, so basically, one of my grievances with some, not all of them, but some of the previous first contact projects that were done so far, Herzing, I believe the other one that think kind of the same, maybe the Darwin program. Ouais, ça va?
Oui, merci beaucoup.
Ok.
Et toi?
Ouais, non, non, mais c'est. Tu l'as dit d'une façon bizarre. Je reviens une vidéo, ça va me prendre 15 minutes. Et je vais probablement rager. Non, mais c'est de l'entertainment, hein, t'inquiète.
À noter?
Hmm.
À noter
Non,
pour
non,
pas que
t'inquiète, meuf.
tu
Non, non,
rages
je m'en
à la-
fais rien, t'inquiète.
Si tu rages, il faut du liquide
Une orage de l'appeler une
dans la
orage.
gorge pour bien...
Liquide dans la gorge.
pour bien rager.
I just make a joke about deep throat, so. No.
Je me demandais quel type. C'est la fille débauchée, genre... Ouais, tu sais ça... Ah bon, mais lequel? Je sais plus, moi.
We French people, we speak a lot about sex. That's our thing, you know, we all the time, like every day of the week, you know, like the song by Cardi B. Ah, tu connais tu l'as vu ça, le Wet Ass Pussy. Il y a un mème là-dessus à cause de Ben Shapiro. C'est le mec de droite, là, le commentateur de droite américain. En fait, il a dit genre c'est pas normal que la meuf elle ait le vagin mouillé, je ne savais pas que les vagins ils se mouillaient, tu vois. Genre il a une femme et tout le monde s'est foutu de sa gueule sur internet, donc c'est voilà.
Putain, sécheresse intime.
Mm.
Lubrifiant. Sécheresse intime, lubrifiant.
Attends, juste, je sais pas, tu veux t'enfermer quelque part ou.
Ouais.
Ok, excuse-moi, non mais je te force à
Mais j'ai
t'enfermer.
pas mes règles. Mais je vais aller quand même
Oh
voir
mon
la
dieu!
classe.
Tu devrais aller au Népal,
Tiens,
putain.
explique-lui la blague Barouilla. Explique-lui, il va rigoler.
Bah, c'est pas lui, c'est genre plein de gens, mais ouais.
Ah,
Bah, puisque je stream.
ah ouais.
Ça veut dire que je fais une vidéo qui va être
Non.
mise en ligne et tout.
Ouais, tu peux pas raconter les délires anthropologiques.
Non, si, je le fais,
Wouhou,
mais.
Godelier.
Si, je le fais aussi, mais c'est de l'entertainment, quoi.
Ouais, ouais, t'as raison. Si c'est du divertissement, ouais.
Un peu, voilà.
Un peu de
Mais il faut que je
Barouilla.
fasse attention, faut pas se mettre. Faut pas dire des trucs. Faut pas dire le N-word, faut pas se mettre à poil devant, sinon je risque d'être viré. Tu vois.
Ouais.
Mais il y a un TOS, quoi, donc je peux pas faire n'importe quoi.
C'est pas ce soir, je vais pouvoir faire du topless. Oh là là. Franchement, ah, ça y est, encore une soirée gâchée. Ah, franchement, hein, William.
Everyone that speaks French here understood a lot of very weird stuff. So no, okay, so yeah, so I have a grievance with the idea of the cetacean language as a cock cracking. So basically, as far as I understand it, the projects that understood cetacean language as a problematic of code cracking are projects that don't really seek what we do, which is basically creating an intermediate language through a simpler frequency translocation, but try to emulate fully the modalities of how cetaceans speak, with, how to put it? So basically, well, first one cetaceans, odontocets, toothless cetaceans use ultrasounds, not infrasounds or sounds like us. Ultrasounds being a name that we give to every sound up to 20 kilohertz, okay, which we can't hear or emit naturally. This sound is emitted extremely quickly. Cetaceans receive and emit sound quicker than we do. They can use two separate channels. I don't think they can emit more than two channels, I have a doubt. And the reception, how about it? The sound they send is like the characteristic of the sound are emitted spatially, a bit like, do you see the hexapods in their arrival? It's like cutting a sausage, okay? It's like cutting a sausage, a big fat sausage, okay? That's kind of the same thing. There are characteristics of cetacean acoustics which push a certain number of people that studied these acoustics to deem it too difficult to create a simpler form of linguistic exchange between them and us that will warrant, that will justify efforts, decade-long efforts, to try to crack, to crack this unique acoustic system, which is deemed as extremely complex, blah 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 blah, by notably using complicated machines and using complex algorithms, using data analysis by computers and so on and so on with specific softwares. I completely disagree with that. We will go over the empirical data on this. I don't totally exclude the possibility that I could realize that I'm wrong on this. I'm mostly relying, how to put it, my views on the matter rely on the discoveries that were made by Russell, by Russell Hoskins on that, and by some other people like Wade Dog, Jim Norman at a certain extent. Even if I spot some disagreements on the matter with him, again, I will try to have Jim Norman on stream, by the way. Basically, I think that the whole idea of cracking the call is absolutely unwarranted, unjustified, that we could reach two-way communication with simple frequency translocation, and that this is kind of justification to stall the project or not break the status quo. That's my basic premise. We will go over that Sorry to repeat myself when it comes to data mining, but I'm extremely adamant on this because everything I say, I try to, as the best, no, what's the sentence? Sometimes I lose myself, I lose the train of thought. Everything I say, I try, data-wise, I try to, ah merde, j'essaye de le justifier le plus possible en termes empiriques. C'est-à-dire, I try to justify it the most possible in empirical terms by looking at the available data and try to gather it and see if it goes in my direction or not, and to find exceptions to the rule that could still mark the other side, and possibly disprove my own take on the matter. So I don't totally exclude, for instance, that our current project with Russell is not going the right direction, and if our experiments with Randy show that we're wrong, I will accept that, and I will gladly try to experiment with a more complex system that will approximate perhaps what people like Herzing or Herman or Rice or the Darwin Project or I don't remember on top of my head the other first contact projects are trying to do. Well, Kuyai on Sugarman and all this. If there is good, here's the thing. I'm trying to do the simplest first contact attempt possible. If I find elements that show me that with the state of the device, as I will have it, it is impossible to create proper two-way communication, then I will shift toward more complex systems that will approximate what people like Herzing do. But as far as I go, and as far as I'm aware, and as far as I've researched, what they're doing is, I believe, in big part of no use on what we call in French a usine à gaz, a gas power station, if you will, power plant, whatever. By the way, end of the apartheid, final apartheid. There is a big difference between trying to understand how their language seemingly functions in structural terms, and even then, are we speaking of the language, in the structure of the language itself, or speaking of the physical aspect of language, what we call the signifié, not the signifiant, signified, like because languages are not just necessarily our speech. You can have a binary language. You can have a language based on modes. You can have a language based on light. You can have a language based on color. You can have a language based on signs, obviously, sign language. Oh, by the way, I will have to get Jeff Wefferson because to debate language further. So there is a big difference between trying to understand the structure of this, either the structure of language itself or of the physical support of, say, language, or if we're trying to speak with them. And that is the big fucking problem as well. Because I believe that we don't need to know all of the fucking modalities of how they speak in order to speak with them. I think we can create a bridge language. If you have been attentive, you know that I could contradict myself when I'm saying that she tries to crack the code and at the same time create a bridge language. And I admit there's kind of an ambiguity here. I believe she tries to crack the code and at the same time trying to create some kind of bridge language. But again, it's mostly going the direction of trying to analytically gather the most data possible on the way they speak before speaking. I don't agree with that. We'll go over that, okay? And by the way, I will bring Russell online, obviously. I mean, I believe Russell will be the first person I will bring online, and obviously Ken. I'll do my best to bring both of them. I don't know. Life finds a way, okay? We'll get the Blue Yeti on the good webcam, and not having the shitty lightning with the fucking noise, okay? The animals. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, politically correctness, blah blah. But no, I believe that when we're talking of sapient beings, obviously we're all animals on a biological point of view, and the dichotomy between like trying to create a separation between us and them is a problem. But socially speaking, contextually speaking, I believe that we have really to step up from, at least in certain contexts, just referring to them as animals. And it's not for politically correct reason; it's for strategic reasons. Again. Hey, don't complain. I'm going to be on a fucking super small, super cold island with storms and shit. Well, no, I don't complain. I fucking love the Ile de Sang, okay? Best fucking island in the whole fucking universe, okay? Okay, fuck Bora Bora, okay? The best place in the fucking planet, it's the Ile de Sang, okay? Fuck that shit. Brittany forever. Okay, so I'm not aware of all of the work by Herzing. I have her core PDF where she gathers most of their work in a span of 17 years, I believe, a bit more. But I'm curious if the hydrophone is also ultrasonic, if it records ultrasonic sound. I believe it is the case. And if so, up to what threshold? But again, we will see that. I'll do data mining streams. There'll probably be 4 or 5 hours of data mining, whatever, okay? That's the good point, by the way. Nearly all of the other projects are done on captive cetaceans. The only project I know, apart from Hazing, that doesn't, apart from like attempts by Wade Dodge in Norman, blah blah, I mean, really like concrete scientific stuff, is, I mean, official one. Well, I mean, not all of the official scientific stuff is peer reviewed. That's part of the problem. But I believe it's the Darwin project. Those people. Um, Let me show you. Yeah, this one. This one. Maybe we'll go over that, okay? I'll make a streamable sperm whales and shit. One fucking day. It's not my priority, but uh I'll take a coffee because I'm fucking busted right now. Having a really shitty sleep pattern. Quarantine fucked my mind. It fucked the mind of everyone. Uh, my roommates, mine's. Okay, what did she say? No, wait, wait a minute. Coffee time. Whew. Interesting, by the way. Oh, isn't that I just saved that link for later. Not for the stream, this is for myself. Just because it interests me. Okay, fuck off, I don't care. Oh, just watching if there are all the vids. Ah. Nothing to say. This is raw data. There is not much to say about that. I just hope in the future we'll be able to rephrase things differently than just practicing their social skills and socializing on stuff and jump toward a more cultural centric vocabulary. Again, it's not politically correctness, it's for sheer strategic reasons. So we cannot speak of the other as just a thing. And well, if you know me, you know that part of my rhetoric is based on a return to ethology. And I believe reformulating the humans in more biological terms is also useful. But I do not believe that we have to deny the culture. I will go over that, okay? I'll make a stream about epistemology. Epistemology is key to everything I do. If I'm wrong, and I could accept the possibility I'm wrong on everything, sanctuaries, ethics, blah, blah. But if I'm wrong, I want it to be shown in epistemological terms, okay? Epistemology is key on part of the problems with either the pro-cap side or the pro-sanctuary side, which is basically the same thing, with extra steps, is their total disregard for everything, and I mean it, everything that has to do with epistemology, and everything is more simplistic and primitive aspects. And we go over that because it's extremely fucking important. Epistemology under heuristics. My coffee. Oh. Let me check. Just let me check some technical stuff. Okay. Wait, are we? Yep. Okay. Yeah, at least that's good because she's right in doing so in the sense that I prefer that, obviously, from other researchers which don't hesitate to do invasive biopsies, etc. I will go over the problem of bodily autonomy. I mean, is there anything to say? If you consider the other as sapient, that you want it or not, the problem of bodily autonomy and consent is posed. You can try to justify it upon conservation or research purposes and such, but you cannot deny that the problem exists. Again, part of the problem with, well, obviously the captive industry, but also as well my own activism, and I say this with a lot of pain, is that they know there is a certain number of ethical problems, but they refuse nonetheless to at least discuss them. They could say, we're pro-sanctuary, blah, blah. But the fact that there is even a refusal of open dialogue on key problems when it comes to, like, basic ethics regarding, captivity, like, sapiency, personhood is Again, we will go. Oh, you know what? We could do a stream on a YouTube video on cetacean personhood. We'll do that. We'll do that later. Sorry. There is one species of, or maybe a bit more, but I know there is at least one species of river dolphin which is quasi blind. But this is true as a rule. It's just that dolphin vision is quite different from ours in a certain number of. I mean, the eyes are on the side. They have a bichromatic or not trichromatic vision. I believe they have a better perception of depth on light contrast. I could be wrong on that. I will have to brush off my cetacean anatomy, whatever. It's detail. On the smell thing, for a long time it was believed that cetaceans have no sense of smell. Some recent paper came out showing there's maybe some limited perception of smell. That's interesting because I believe early Greek accounts, I believe by Aristotle or some other of the early zoologists of Greek and Roman times, have used some anecdotal evidence that the use of perfumes on some other very smelly sources on dolphins has some impact on them. I always assume it was just a misconception. I mean, Aristotle has obviously made a lot of misconception on animal anatomy in his books. But there may be some kind, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some degree of vestigial sense. I mean, I have a doubt on that. That's a detail, it's not very important, but I just, yes, Leonard. Whatever, this is not important. This is anecdotal, not important. I don't know. Yeah, I have a real problem with the notion of signature whistles. Basically, there was a certain enthusiasm in science. I believe I believe Herman discovered it. I could be wrong on that, but I believe it was the work of Lou Herman. Again, I could be wrong on that, but I need to. But there was a certain enthusiasm for the notion of signature whistle, but I have a certain dislike for the notion because it tends to encase the problematic of cetacean language as some kind of rigid, sort of innate, rigid, non-culturally mediated use of sound for something that would in our cultures be the name. Apparently there's some evidence, notably by Markov. This is a paper, we could review it and see if there is some criticism of the paper, if it's valid and such. But that the signature whistle is basically an artifact of captivity due to the young age and the stress of captive dolphins. We will go over that, but basically I have a certain grudge with the notion of signature whistle. Also, it's funny how the same people that totally deny the possibility of any innate drive in cetaceans, especially regarding hunting, are also the same people that have no problem with the notion of signature whistle as some kind of admittedly and tacitly innate, unrigid communication form in cetaceans. But whatever, we will go over that. I could be wrong on that, but I mean, there could be some kind of artifact or something else. There could be an artifact of echolocations used not as a herd sound, but as echolocation. I don't know. It could be. It's very possible as well that cetaceans have the equivalent of facial expressions, but acoustically speaking, it's let's maybe some kind of like equivalent of choreograph faces function. I don't know. I'm extremely skeptical about. Let's say that the enthusiastic on overall use of the notion of signature whistle by a certain number of scientists in the literature is problematic for a certain number of reasons. We will go over that in later, and I will have to brush over the data in order to be 100% sure because again the problem is they're not focusing on language as language. They're focusing on that. I mean, par dépit, uh, by lack of, but nonetheless, I mean that's the problematic, right? And they're doing this because they couldn't like show any evidence of language in cetaceans, or is there some kind of bad faith in there? I believe there is some degree of bad faith, but whatever. The other problem is basically every when we record whatever they do, we record it at a distance. The whole point of cetacean acoustic is that it's 3D. If you record it like that in a flattened way, you're going to have some kind of weird garbled message, especially when it mixes with other sounds by other cetaceans, blah blah, which is for many reasons difficult to crack. That's why they're so obsessed by cracking the code. I believe this is of no use. I believe we can perfectly create some kind of lingua franca using simple frequency translocation. I believe there is past evidence of this, notably because of the attempt by White Dog to communicate with Rampal, because of the experiment with NOC, possibly as well because of some circumstantial evidence surrounding Wayne Bateau's attempt in 67 and 69. We will go over that, and also because of theory, simple theory regarding, you know, the how cetaceans use echolocation. As far as I'm aware, I found no experiment or study showing that simple frequency translocation doesn't work in cetaceans. I do not understand so far. I could be wrong on that, and I could change my mind, but I do not understand so far. Well, there was apparently no study, or no study is referenced on experimenting for simple frequency translocation as we want to do on cetaceans in order to verify that the simplest solution is what allows for two-way communication rather than more complex, sub, more complicated attempts on systems using, well, toyetic machines, a keypad, or how they fucking fuck Swiss Savage Rumbo lexigram, the lexigrammic system or something analogous to Swiss Savage Rumbo lexigrammic system with Kanzi, or basically I believe all these complicated systems are really of no use. I believe there is extensive, at least circumstantial evidence showing that there's no point in doing that, and at least it needs to be justified, and that's why I'm going to do this experiment insane. And if I fail, I will admit the fact that I failed, but if I don't, well, we'll see. That's only, yeah, okay, yes, so, yeah, well, I believe the sonar can also be heard on the ultrasonic. Obviously, we cannot hear it like this. We'll need some kind of frequency translocation that obviously will show us a garbled version of how the sonar sounds, but whatever. Yep. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. By the way, cetaceans do this a lot. If you go with a solitary cetaceans, they'll probably buzz you to scan you. It's not necessarily sexual. We'll go over that because let's say that there's a certain mediatic over sexualization of dolphin, which I believe detrimental to any first contact work on that. In particular, tends to give the idea that male dolphins in particular are some kind of like a dangerous rapist, like monster that try to rape divers. This is bullshit. There is no evidence for that. Whatever, we will go over that because this is a side thing, but nonetheless important to clarify a certain number of things that are useful for post-contact work on a certain normalization of or ideas on views on the marketplace of ideas, whatever. What does she what does she mean by how to measure? Curious about that. Basically, all of the sounds you hear is just 20% of the vocal repertoire. That's part of the problem. It was bubbles or scars. Bubbles, I believe. What did she say about sharks? I had no idea. That's not surprising, by the way. Yes, that's easy to. If you watch a lot of vids of a certain number of species of different species of odontocetes cetaceans, sound synchronization is easy to spot. There was an excellent video like that of some like a Norhynchus dolphins, what we call the Duskies, showing that unfortunately is lost now because the archive website was Thanos snapped a few years back. Oh, let's see if I can find it. It's done. Sorry, I was intrigued by the. Wait, what are those things? Don't tell me they're mugs like but by researchers. No, they're leaves. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, it's time for a conversation when I'm the only motherfucker out there trying to seriously do this shit. But I mean, not the only one because obviously we're a team. But oh shit. I mean, symptomatic that the thing is called it's time for a conversation. Then there's no serious attempt to our first contact. But It sounds so weird. Well, I never heard that variant. That may be, it's possible they made some kind of frequency translocation, I'm not sure. Because it makes that sound like it sounds more human. It's kind of weird. That may be some kind of artifact because of bad sound recording. I don't know. Like this howling sound. You know? Yeah, see? See, that's yeah, but that's the problem though. Are they making some kind of frequency like well, how are they treating that sound? How are they making it hearable? When they say that, I'm extremely curious what they mean by that. By the way, I don't really believe so. I think basically like I'll go over the theory. The gist of it, I don't like making things mysteries because that's the best way of putting a distance between them and us. Basically, I think the mystery is irrelevant. I think that the whole point is to go beyond what makes us different to what makes us common as people. That's the whole point of what I'm doing. And whatever. I'm speaking in very vague theoretical terms. Right now, when we will go over like concrete sanctuary projects, marine, all this shit, then we'll be able to speak in more concrete terms. On you will be able to see where concretely everything I say has some kind of like direct. Fuck, the word barriers. It doesn't exist, right? Because I hear it a lot. I mean, relevance. Whatever. Yeah, if I remember that. Basically, another thing is I have a doubt at what point Herzing acknowledged the work of her colleagues. Like, I know obviously she relies on Herman works, but I don't know if she acknowledged directly stuff by Markov and stuff. I don't know. We don't need a Rosetta Stone. That's part of the fucking problem. Wait, whatever. Yeah, that's what I try to do, but you'll see the problem with the CHT system. Oh my god, that's okay. So, as far as I'm aware, this is the work by Lou Herman that was done, as you see, in Epcot, in that theme park, the futuristic theme park owned by Disney. I believe this is the work by Herman. Edward Herman, no, not Rice. This is Herman's. And by the way, Herman keyboard interface doesn't allow for two-way communication. There was a yes/no pedal, just that, and I believe there was some rigid sound like fish or whatever the fuck, and then like no possibility for to create a genuine dialogue like with Kanzi. That's part of the problem. Nearly every other attempt, including the first one, like the first teaching of English of Lily toward Peter the dolphin and Janus and everything else, was rigged from the beginning to prevent genuine two-way communication. I strongly believe that due to a number of circumstantial reasons that we will review on stream another time. I believe this is extremely important to stress out because I believe there are neurologic, ideological, and social reasons why humans haven't done this shit. Not just because the dolphin code is hard to crack. No, 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 no. because of how our mind works on a cultural, historical, social level. But again, we will go over that later stream. Yeah, that's probably true. Oh, okay. Yep, the CHAT, which is a fucking disaster, by the way. Well, you will see why. Yep. If there was spontaneous mimicking your vocalization, why not trying to reach some kind of first contact toward this? If they can mimic your vocalization to a certain extent, it means they can hear it. If they can hear it, it means there's some kind of simpler bridge language that doesn't need the use of complex devices and shit is doable. This by itself should, like, I mean, is it possible to create a language only toward mimicking of human speech? It's doubtful, notably because of practical reasons toward the fact that they live in water, we don't. It's difficult for them to mimic exactly human language, although NOC has displayed this at a certain extent, blah blah. But it shows that a simple planar form that doesn't need this whole 3D device shenanigan isn't like, oh my god. Also, it's very interesting because there is a place called Socorro Island in Mexico where the dolphins there have shown, and I've seen it on vid, and I know it's a recurrent phenomenon because divers speak about this online, where dolphins have been shown to try to imitate human speech, and it's extremely fucking impressive because, like, there is a vid where you see the dolphin putting themselves vertically on bulging the throat, on like vibrating it, on really trying to imitate the way we speak. It's wild. I believe it's that vid. I'm not sure. Also, there's another recent case. There was a there's I believe there's Wiki, the orca from Marineland, Antibes, and then I believe some tour shops did similar stuff to that, using their melon and shit in a natural way. Have a doubt. Wait, wait. No, I. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, they're small. That must be. I had no idea Dunkers were smaller. Tour shops, like the tour shops from northern France, they're huge, my dude. They're like, when I, you know that Randy is considered kind of a runt, tour shops wise. Like he's like 2 meter and a half. And already when you're in a kayak, next to him, he's a fucking giant. Jean Floc, or some other of those like offshore, the offshore inshore like difference is not that. I mean, coastal difference in Trishov's ecotype isn't that rigid. De facto, you have both type in both environments in France, but uh, I know some tour shops can go as far as 4 meters, like as far as some smaller orca population. It's fucking wild. This one is really small. Could be a sabbadle though. I don't believe so, but I don't give a fuck about the stupid music. I'm just searching for that was. Socorro Island is an excellent contact site, by the way. I mean, potential one. Yeah, they're harassing the dolphin. Nah, nah. The dolphin are fine with the divers. I know that. I mean, it's obvious. If they weren't fine with them, they will have manifested it differently. Also, it's like a rock in the middle of the ocean, so in order to go there, it's logistically very difficult. It's not like on some like coastal seaports where you have like a bagillion fucking human beings harassing. Where no, wait. I need to show you that. That's important. Yep. So this kind of stuff show you that there's at least a willingness to communicate from the dolphin part, which probably is extremely frustrating for them. Try to communicate on human, just like, oh, whatever. Oh, no, I don't believe, I know that's my key disagreement with Russell in particular, but as you know, I am extremely skeptical, to say the least, about the claims of dolphin telepathy and the like. We'll go over that because while I have some key disagreement on this, my key problem isn't really the claim of telepathy, is rather how, especially as like the newest trend was used and instrumentalized by the captivity industry in order to justify a form of exploitation towards cetaceans, or at least, well, here's the thing. A lot of the people that claim telepathy with cetaceans and stuff appear to use this idea of telepathic direct contact, blah blah, in order to circumnavigate the possibility of serious spoken first contact, which is not obviously the case of Russell. I know that Wade Dog, for instance, indirectly had some interest in the idea, Lily as well, but which shows you that that's not a systematic occurrence. You can both believe that we can have direct contact and telepathic contact. I mean, again, I don't believe in that, but listen, if you believe in dolphin telepathy, okay, listen. If when speaking with Randy or some other dolphin, I have direct proof of that. If Randy literally tells me, hey, sometimes I speak directly through my mind with other dolphins or whatever, or with Frédéric Pichard and stuff, listen, I will have to accept it, okay? We will see that in 2 or 3 years when, but the gist of it is that I'm skeptical about this. So, yep, that's that part. That's the part where, yep, 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 yep. Yeah, yeah, the frame's drooping all the fucking time. Don't worry about that. There's a glitch, there's a delay. You see that? You see, like, they're positioning themselves vertically, and they're doing that thing with the throat. And if you hear it, it's very subtle, but you will hear very low, low, not high, not ultrasound like they normally do, very low throat incoming sound. I mean, they don't have a throat like we have a throat. It's we'll review dolphin anatomy at some point in time. You, see, you hear? You hear? It's like like that. By the way, if you want a good instance of an animal that use their throat to use near infrasounds, ratites, big ratites like the casuar, the emu, the ostrich, or the rhea use that. Sometimes, if you go to a zoo or some kind of farm, you will see, like, for instance, male ostriches inflating the throat on doing like a drum, like sound like ooh, ooh, like that. That's kind of what they're doing right now. And also, I believe there's a human trying to imitate them or whatever. Yeah, yeah, they, them. But fuck that, I'm non-binary as well. I'll do this with everyone, okay? Whatever, we don't know how the gender system works, okay? We don't know that. As far as I'm aware, they could have like 3 million genders. I mean, and that's an extremely interesting behavior. Uh, not much to say about that, rather than, there's a will by cetaceans to at least try to bridge that. All humans are just fucking around and being retarded. Oh shit, did I not show the vid? Oh my god, okay. Round 2, fuck. Oh my god. Very sorry about that. No. That. You see? It's a human talking. And then, see what they do with their throat? About the jaws. That's extremely fucking interesting. Extremely fucking interesting. Like, they're really trying to imitate the humans at the level of how low they speak. They're like, it's amazing. I mean, that's amazing. The fact that they do that, they make the effort of doing this, it's whatever. I don't know. Mm. That's I believe there may be some kind of innate evolutionary determined drive toward the pursuit of prey-like objects in cetaceans. Whatever, this is another point. I will go over this in a later stream. No, Dennis, that's where you went for return. You need to talk with them. Not, oh my god, that's where it starts. That's where it starts. Why? 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 I know why. I know what's the ad hoc justification. Oh, because in order to bridge like an action between us and them, we have to put what is in common with between us and them, which will we play. But why going toward this intermediate to speak? We don't need like games or whatever as an intermediate toward communication. We communicate. We point out toward things. We try to refer to objects. We can use a myriad of things, like even like play in its most raw sense, in order to like start like creating a link and talk. But we don't need like a toyetish complex device to engage, communicate. That's where the retarded part starts. That's where they start to like shoot themselves in the foot, and they're extremely conscious of that, by the way. That's it's not her, okay? It's not just her. I have grudges against her for a variety of reasons, but the problem is universal. Every previous first contact attempt, which amounts to what, 16 or 17 different projects so far, had the same problem, the same exact problem. Not with the same modalities. Some of them created extremely complex devices that were largely useless. Some others sabotaged their own devices in order to prevent two-way communication, even if the system kind of worked. Others totally ignored key points like frequency translocations. Some other use extremely complex intermediary systems. Some others forced in one direction or another, like the early Lily project trying to force a dolphin to speak English when they knew there were physiological differences that made it extremely difficult, or by having captive extremely young dolphins that were trained to speak when why we don't. I mean, at least. Quoi? At least that you believe in the false, undemonstrably false, demonstrated to have been false, behaviorist understanding or interpretation of human language. No, you cannot train someone to speak. Speech is not based on training. Speech is based on a complex, on nature based, on dynamic take on learning, which goes beyond mere training. The idea that speech is entirely based on operant conditioning is retarded. It just doesn't work. We just know that. We'll go over the theory behind why behaviorism is wrong, why we have to go beyond behaviorism, why there is a certain use of behaviorism tacitly in our own activism, which is part of the problem. By the way, which makes me think I need to look at a Viscer video, whatever. But the gist of it is every first contact attempt so far self-sabotage itself in a way or another. Oh, by the way, the Janus project is one of the best instances of this, with all of the retarded faction games, people like tonguing each other, like, oh my god. As we've seen with the Liberation Project right yesterday with John Rossi and Sergalov, and also, what was the third one? Free Willy, obviously. Oh, Free Willy, no, I mean Free Keiko, whatever. The gist of it is we believe our method is the best method for a certain number of reasons. And we will test it, which they don't, by the way, because they don't have a good methodology. That's the problem. None of the projects use proper methodology for what they're doing. And if we're wrong, we will accept that we're wrong, okay? But so far, we have no reasons to believe we're wrong. By the way, all of this shit after 25 years of work. That's wild to me. Wild. You don't know. Oh my god. And the CHAD system is not recent. It has 20 years. You will see. You will see that it speaks for itself. I mean, how do you know that? You just oh my god, that's part of the problem. It's, how to put it, if you want to entice them, first, you don't need this keyboard system. Why? Why do we need a keyboard system? Why create an extremely complex keyboard system instead of trying to bridge that acoustically? Why? No justification for that. Secondly, we know that because of, first, obvious theoretical reason regarding the way they use ultrasounds, but even empirically speaking, we know that because of White Dog, because of NOC, because of the myriads of experiments that were done with free cetaceans and such. Notice that I speak of free, not wild cetaceans, because I believe that there is a fundamental incompatibility with the notion of wilderness on the notion of cetacean as sapient beings with a culture, and not for politically correct reasons, by the way, for concrete political reasons that can be identified. Uh, uh, um, why not using ultrasounds? Why not sending them what we say with frequency translocation on the ultrasound level? Why? We know that they're more interesting by ultrasound, including extremely simplistic monotonous sounds. We know that. Listen, they even used a pinger on Randy a few years back. Oh, he clearly showed more enthusiasm for the pinger, which, by the way, is one of the reasons that I believe our device could work with Randy. And that's not the only reason. There were other experiments and like some of anecdotal evidence to that, but we know that. We just know that. Or at least it needs to be experimented on. Then, whether you will see. Oh my god. Okay. That's where it becomes, that's where I'm sorry to use the R word, I don't care. I have autism, I use that word with a lot of leniency, all of that, but that's where it goes for retard. That's where it goes for retard. Why? That, oh. Okay. Why? The CHET is one of the most useless systems I'm aware of. They use four only symbols, abstract symbols, linked to four, A, synthetic, B, at our frequency, and C, monotonous whistles that they link to four objects, including one, the scarf. Cetacean couldn't possibly know. I don't know where to start. This is one of the most, oh my god. They're conscious of that, by the way. You'll, which is not ultrasound, by the way, which is part of the problem. Which is part of the problem, because we know, which is logical, by the way, that cetaceans show more enthusiasm for sounds modulated with the naturality on the crisp of around sound. Why artificial? Why? No justification for that. Yes, probably for control reasons, like showing that they rigidly respond to that sound, but that's, oh my god, that's part of the problem. Why doing all that? Why not trying to speak directly to them? At least trying to prove that they don't respond to direct attempts to direct attempts towards two-way communication. If they show successfully that direct attempts towards two-way communication doesn't work, then such system could be justified. But that makes no sense. It then works toward assumption. Oh, we assumed previous system didn't work, therefore we're going to do extremely contrived systems. That's part of the fucking problem, people. And Herzing is not the only one to have done that mistake. She's not the only one, I promise you. Like, listen, there's Sogerman, Kuyai, which is dead, by the way, but I believe there's like two other people that have been continuing his work. Kasewitz, Herman, which also died, the Elvis system, the Gavegay IB project in Sweden, oh my god, how is he? How are they called? The Darwin project with sperm whales, the first Lily project, the second Lily project in the 80s. There's a few others. Reichs is more an experiment than. Oh fuck, I know there are more of them. Well, yeah, obviously. Jim Norman attempts, White Dog attempts. Uh, well, Kenneth Lovis didn't attempt anything by himself, as far as I'm aware. But like, well, Wayne Bateau, obviously. Like, there's all of this shit on all of them. I swear, in a way or another. Well, Bateau is weird because it was classified by the U.S. Navy, and it is possible that they kind of found our method and didn't. And by the way, our method, in theory, could very easily be reached with what we call a new QC, a wet phone, which is basically a device used for communication between divers, unlike divers on the surface or submarine on the surface. I could have used a wet phone, but I prefer to have a custom device for a certain number of experimental reasons. But there's a certain number of circumstantial evidence that go toward the direction that the Navy may have used such devices in the past to bridge some kind of two-way communication with their captives. But even then, I'm kind of skeptical. But and NOC tends to go toward that being a reality. I mean, also the experiment by John Kurt, which according to Russell, also used a wet phone. Although, unfortunately, I have no other source apart from Russell. Yes, that's part of the problem, Denise. You need, if you want to entice them, why are you using their repertoire? Why? Yes, I know, maybe in order to separate what they say and what the machine says, but like, see the problem, there's no serious attempt to have two-way communication. No. They're doing what we call tourner autour du pot in France. Meaning, oh my god. No, that's from yesterday. Beat around the bush. That's it. Beating around the fucking bush. Everything. Everything since fucking John C. Lely was beating around the bush. I fucking swear that's. Oh, we'll go over all of this theory. I'm sorry, I'm really tired. This is of no use. 4 years of that. That's debate me on that. Debate me on that. I'm extremely confident on that. 4 years of toying around. 4 years of toying around instead of at least trying some ersatz of two-way communication. Are you serious? Did they use the CHSC system for 4 fucking years? What? What kind of data did they gather out of this? What? Please show me this data. I'm extremely curious. This is, oh my god. Anyone with two brain cells can realize how retarded this is. This is unjustifiable. Yeah, potato quality, blah blah, whatever. I believe this is. I believe the dying rice used a very similar system. I believe they're the same symbols that derive from the initial rice symbol system. I'm not sure about that. I will have to read Rice's paper. Um, yeah, yeah, little, yeah. See, this is like the second big brain to ratio like system. No, brain. Oh my god, I'm being frustrated right now. Brain to body ratio thing she mentioned earlier. Those people will either claim cetaceans are smarter than us, or they are smarter than us, implying a system of sapiency, blah blah, with everything it implies from a philosophical, ethical, practical point of view, all of that, or which is a discourse which they have no qualm in also having coexist with a more equalitarian discourse, they will imply that, they're a small cheater, they kind of idiotic. Oh my god, I fucking hate that paternalism. Fucking hate that. That's what triggers the fuck out of me. Why? We're not trying. That's the problem. That's the methodological issue. Why not first attempting serious two-way communication, and then, if after repeated attempts using different methods, using acceleration, deceleration of sound, using frequency translocation, using perhaps a more 3D system, it fails, then using more contrived systems like, oh my god. Boring, by the way. By the video quality of this, you see that that's from the as like from the depth of the rectum of the 90s, and they hadn't moved from that. Like they're still like from like I think there's a National Geographic even before the CHSC system had been like created, I believe. Herzing was quite popular because I have like an issue, a National Geographic issue from the early 90s, where already like Herzing had her yacht on like the some kind of system, blah, whatever. I'm curious how many times they repeated that, by the way. That's part of the problem, by the way. Like, for instance, the GVG IB system on the Sugarman attempt exists in 2012. What have been doing in like nearly 10 years? What have they been doing? Repeating like some kind of training basis? We have no idea, by the way, because they nearly publish anything. The papers they release, if any, are extremely scant. What have they been doing in 10 years, 20, 30 years? What? Oh, by the way, by the minute I have the device, I will stream everything. I will release every piece of data, every recording, everything. I will be extremely, I promise you, that's a prerequisite of everything I will do. I will be extremely transparent with every result of my work. Well, what did you say? This paternalistic consideration of situation as some kind of overgrown children is something that, I don't know. For what? What did they demonstrate? It's something that was shown by trainers since the 40s, something that was shown by Herman himself in the 80s. What did they demonstrate? That free cetaceans do the exact same thing than captives? I mean, oh my god. Really? Really, that's the big first contact attempt by the big brain with like the big brain. Oh my god. Really? Really? Oh. I mean, what do they mean by the function of the whistle? That what? Like, if they do the whistle, it's obviously to ask for the rope, right? Apes do that. Even dogs do that to a certain extent. Oh my god, whatever. They must like understand it. There's no way around. Ah ha ha. Oh, with that rant incoming. So I fucking hate that understanding of the problem. I fucking hate that use of what is, I'm sorry, a behaviorist understanding of the problem, habituation, desensitization, like it exists to a certain extent in as an universal aspects of non-human or human behavior, but the reduction of cetacean behavior into all this is why? If touching is part of the cultural and social modalities of their exchanges, why not engaging into it? Why? Why creating the distance? But again, that's part of the problem because they refuse genuine first contact. They refuse any genuine cultural exchange. social exchange, linguistic exchange, there's no of this, okay? Those people have been toying with the idea of first contact. They love to masturbate over the idea of cetacean intelligence. They never engage into it. Oh, it's not just herzing. That's a whole gang, okay? That the same problem has been going on since Lady. I'm not very enthusiastic about touching cetacean. I never touched Randy. I don't know if I plan to touch Randy. If it's really like, if he really enjoys it and it's like part of what will allow for further communication, perhaps I will do it. But I'm not, by the way, I'm not a dolphin obsessed guy. I'm really not. If you want to, here's the thing, if you want to enthusiasm me with something, it will be like shiny insects, dinosaurs. I'm not enthusiastic. I'm not obsessed by cetaceans. I don't have this obsession, this sick obsession of some people, especially women of certain age, by the way, uh, for the dolphin smile, the dolphin skin, or touching the skin. I don't give a fuck about that. I genuinely don't give a fuck. I'm interested in the conceptual problem of cetacean intelligence, their captivity, the form of their exploitation, how they have been perceived in culture, blah blah. This is what interests me. I'm not interested in like the dolphin slide, blah blah blah. I'm really not. And also the same problematic exists for elephants. It's just that elephants are more difficult to reach and don't have the specificities when it comes to like the specific way the dolphin industry has been evolved, how it shows itself from an aesthetic point of view, how there is a very specific figure of the dolphin figure that in some ways parallel as well, how racism has been playing out. I know that's a controversial, I know it has been attacked on this, by the way, but whatever, we'll do a stream on cultural representation, dolphin industry, etc. But basically, I'm not someone that is enthusiast me. I'm not. I don't give the fuck. I don't give a fuck about the dolphin as a system of representation. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going toward Randy because Randy's a dolphin. They're smiling. No, 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 no. The only reason why I'm going there on that fucking island is for conceptual and political reasons. That's it. And also because obviously I'm interested in the possibility of contacting another mind with a probably a cultural modality which are extremely different from ours, on conceptual modalities, blah blah, on a form of anthropology, but that's it. I'm genuinely not interested in like whatever. Well, sorry for that PSA, but that's extremely important for me to like precise it because the number of people, especially in our activism, that are like fucking, I'm sorry to use that word, but like obsessed, Karen obsessed soccer moms that, oh my god, for dolphin obsessed Karens that just care about, oh, the dolphin, oh, they smile, oh, their skin is so smooth, this quasi sexual obsession. I fucking hate that. I don't give a fuck about how they look like. They could look like those ugly anglerfishes with the fucking, like those fucking, uh, they could look like that, literally. They could be ugly like that. If they have like sapiency and they have that relationship to culture, death, relationship to politics and such, then I will go toward them and try to speak to them. I don't give a fuck about how they look. The people that react that way, they are fucking toxic. I don't give a fuck. This is literally, for me, it's quasi sexual. It's literally quasi sexual. Again, why a keyboard? Why? Why not direct acoustic contact? Why not simple frequency translocation? Why? Why? And years, decades of that. That's the problem, by the way. It's not that if they had made that shitty system and then they improved on it, tried to expand it toward more words, tried to create some kind of semblance of two-way communication. Nothing. They don't let the possibility of cetaceans to answer back. That's part of the fucking problem, people. Yeah, hours of that, my god. Obviously, dolphins are fucking bored. Wait, what? That's not entirely true, but whatever. I mean, it's depends of what you mean by big truth. Uh, you can interpret Wade's experiments with Rumpel as already more of a breakthrough than that. You can interpret even some of the earliest Lilly experiments as more of a breakthrough than that. It depends of your interpretation of the problem. Again, we will go over the different, we'll do some data mining maybe tomorrow, and we'll go over the different projects, not all of them, but some of the key projects on the papers, on the data they've gathered, and try to see, notably, if the frequency translocation was done or not. I don't believe it was so far, but seriously? Yeah, I've seen that. I believe they had already something like this in the 80s. I'm not sure about that, though. Wait, well, oh yeah, we have to crack the code. That's why we make like a toyetic system with like full system with that are based with like toys on shit because we want to crack the code. Oh my god. I won't debate that. I would prefer not to debate anyone on that until I have like the exact, you know, like precise data when it comes to each project on the different studies and experiments. Yeah, that's the same title, right? Yeah, yeah, obviously I'm an idiot. Basically, this approximates a bit more what we're attempting to do, but well, clearly it has this thing with the two channels, as I mentioned before. But that's probably for the emission, that's for the reception, I believe. Yeah, that's the CHT. Okay, okay, so basically disregard what I said before. I thought that CHAT referred to this thing that associates the words with like the signs on the toys on shit, and that's the CHAT. Okay, so I made a mistake, mea culpa. Yeah, that's basically what Lily tried to attempt in the between Janus and his earlier. He had a project of doing something like this before Janus in some kind of place in Mexico. It's an aborted, failed project. We know this from his files in Stanford, whatever. No, no, no. You have a functional system, contrived one, which I believe probably doesn't use frequency translocation, but at least something that could be functional. And instead of using it for serious two-way communication, you use it for toys. Ah! I'm sorry, I get triggered, but like, do you imagine we find aliens out there, and instead of trying two-way communication in a serious way, we like use an oh shit, you know that thing, you know, like. Désolé, j'ai hurlé.
Ah non, 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 au contraire, c'est bien.
We used that thing, I don't know who you call this, and we like, do you imagine that? That's retarded! Jude! I took some too much coffee, okay? I'm sorry. What word, by the way? Because I'm pretty sure this doesn't have the flexibility it implies it has. Yep, it's like 20 years that they are in the prototype, by the way. We'll go over the CHA system, but I'm pretty sure, and I know because I've read part of the paper, that it isn't like a flexible. First, it is to contrive, but even then, you could like theoretically achieve some kind of two-way communication. But like, as far as I'm aware, it's like Herman system. It's an extremely rigid and contrived one. And why? Why two? Why? Why two people? Why? 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 Why two people? Why do you need two people? That's the same mistake that Juan Bateau did with his initial system back in '67. By the way, I mean, in the initial system, there may have been like some kind of military reason, but whatever. Yep. So they're using the same system than before, with the same full rigid whistle, probably the same whistles that are A, subsonic, B, synthetic, not using human voice, and B, monotonous, which is completely stupid for with the reason I explained before. And they're only using those four whistles, and no possibility for the dolphins to answer back and to create some kind of dynamic system where they could create a bridge language. Nothing. No possibility to speak even with simple concepts, including concepts that dolphins like. Because, they could like create a system where like the dolphin says like a whistle and then it registers the whistles and it's associated with like a concept and then they reply back the pre-recorded whistle and it's like could refer to more complex concepts and such. It's a stupid system, but it's doable in theory. But they're not even doing that. And I'm pretty sure they're not doing that right now. Why? Why the toy thing? It's wild to me. Wild to me. Wild to me. I understand that the toy thing was for pragmatic reasons, like part of what people like Jean Plog or Horace Dobbs have used in their initial contact with solitary cetaceans in Europe and such and such. But like, come on. I hate the rhetorics. I hate the rhetorics because it's part of the infantilization of an extremely complex and extremely serious subject. It's oh my god, whatever. Yep, that's the key problem here. That's the key issue here. Oh, did it? Did it? Denise? Oh, did it? Oh, that's interesting. So why the CHS system is practically the same thing as 15 years? The signature whistle is specific or whatever. I don't even know if the free citation have signature whistle. As far as I'm aware, it's only captive ones, whatever. We'll see, we'll go over this, I may be wrong. Yep, that's the idea of a bridge language. So where's the result, Denise? Where? Oh, by the way, it's not just her. Again, Sogerman has the same problem. The AB. Oh yes, there's also a Japanese project. A dolphin speaker, whatever. They all have the same issue. They claim, they claim, they claim. In 20 years, they've done shit. That's the same fucking problem. They nearly don't publish. When they publish, it's not peer reviewed. It breaks my fucking balls. That's redundant. They communicate with another species by definition. What they're talking about? That's not well formulated. What the Klingons? No, they don't. Whatever. Okay. I thought Herzing was like more like on the Marino side of intelligence. No, she's probably like Rice, someone that has a patronizing understanding of dolphin intelligence, but like understand it as lower than us. Okay. and explain. Explain in detail why. Why do you need to bridge the language of our sensory systems? Also, by the way, they're not trying to create this extremely complex system where they're like, like they claim they're going to do that. I need to see it, but it's not that they used initially some machine to like directly send ultrasounds in 3D with the both channels and such. They used again a monotonous whistles, B subsonic, and C synthetic, only referring to those. Oh my god, whatever. Really, whatever. This is retarded. I'll go over the data, but basically you see the gist of why I have an issue with all of that. So I will stop my no because I'm tired and I have to sleep. And hopefully, I hope that soon I will have the new setting of the new mic and the new webcam, and we will be able to debate with people and make some more useful data mining. So, bye.